Hey guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and today's day 3 of our Halloween or Trick or Treat mini album. So this is where we're going with the album. This is where we are right now. So where we've gotten so far is we have made the cover and we've made our inside pages here. We've got 6 pocket pages, and now we just need to make the inserts that go in there. And we have made these clear triangle pockets here. So if you're starting with us midway, if you want to go back a couple of videos, you can find the beginning of this project, and there's also a playlist. And the description below, there is a link that'll take you to my Etsy shop. There's still a few kits left if you want to pick up the kit to make this project. It's got everything that you need to make the project except for your tools. So let's take a look at where we're going. Just kind of a little recap here. So we need to make our belly band that's made out of a couple of tags on the front, and then the tag here, we need to make this piece. We've got our tags in the front, we need to make those. And the next thing we're gonna do though is to make these little inserts that's gonna go in here. And I will do a walkthrough of how I put my pictures in here. But we're gonna make this little shaker that's also a part of one of these pullouts. So let's see how far we can get today, and then a few more tags there on the back. All right. So if you're following along on your cutting guide, I am in the middle of page 15 here with these photo mats. So let's cut those together. What you want to do is grab those 3 pieces of cardstock that you have left that's still 12 by 12, and they're double-sided. So you should have one of each color. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut one of these together, and then I will do the other ones off screen, and then we'll get back together. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut 6 pieces of 8 by 6. So what I'm going to do here is come out to 8 inches. Cut this off, put this small piece in with my scrap pile. We'll use those later. And then now that I've got 8, and I know it's 8 by 12, I'm going to turn this to the 6 mark. Squeaky, squeaky. Turn this to the 6 mark. There we go. And now I've got 2 8 by 6s. I'm going to turn one over because this is what I want. I want one of each color. So I'm going to do that with the other 2 pieces of cardstock. And then we're going to score and ink the edges. So let me go ahead and get these 2 cut and be right back. So I've got all my 6 by 8 pieces cut. So I'm going to take each one of those and put them on my scoreboard on the 8-inch side, and I'm simply going to score them at 4 and fold in half. So I'm going to do that with all 6 pieces, and I already have my others done here. So I folded all of them in half, so I should have 6 of one of all the 6 colors. And I'm going to use Distress ink in Black Soot. And all I did is I went around both sides distressing all of the edges. And I even distressed the center right where the fold is. So I just fold it, go ahead and distress that piece too. And then I just fold it in the other direction. And just give this a quick distress also, because you're going to be able to see both sides on this project. Usually when we're cutting paper, we're gluing it down, right? And so you won't see but one side. But on this one, since it's an insert, you will see all sides of that. All right, there we go. I love these. One of every color. So I'm going to take my bone folder. Just going to kind of make sure these are all smoothed out. There we go. And then we're going to, I'll show you where I put them in my album, and then we'll move on. Here we go. So what I decided to do is, again, I went kind of put the same color with the background color. So you can see the first one's this light orange. I used the light orange insert. And if this had the aqua Let me pull this one out. This has got that aqua background, so I used the aqua insert on the back. I was like confused for a second. What did I do? Anyway, so they all match up, and you can, of course, don't have to do it that way, but when I was trying to match up my colors, it was just easier for me to do that. So here's the white background, and then the insert was white. So the first one we have is this light orange. So I'm going to find the light orange one, and this is where this would go. It would simply just put it this way, and that's where it would stay. And then you would put your photos here, or you would put one of those 4x6 cut-aparts here, and then this is already decorated here. There's room for another photo if you need space, but if not, then those are already decorated. So, same way all the way through. The next one's got this little aqua, greenish blue background, so I would do the same. Just put them in just like this. So what I'm going to warn you is, if you don't have pictures or anything on it yet, they're not going to want to stay in. There's nothing to hold them in to give them any weight. But once I have put my photos in there, I'm not having that same problem, you can see, because they've got some weight to it, some heft. Now this little front pocket does not want to seem to stay, but other than that, everything else just kind of stays together. So that's how those would go in there. I'm not going to put all mine in because I don't want them to slide out as I'm continuing to work, but that's where that's where yours would go. So let's keep moving. So we finished up through page 15. So now we're at the top of 16. Oh, this is the fun part. We're going to start on the shaker card. So I'm going to grab all my goodies here, and I'm going to find the glassine envelope. I'm also going to need the little shaker bits, and I have me a little tray. I like this little triangle tray because it helps me put things back in the bags because it has this little point. And I got this in the bead section, like at a Michael's, or yeah, it was Michael's, not Hobby Lobby, but it's with beads. It's called a bead tray, I do believe. All right, let's see. Uh-oh, sorry, I touched my camera there. And then we're also going to need the batt paper. So what's the leftovers here of our batt paper. So my bats and yours is going to be a little short because of what we used it on to fill the entire envelope, but that is okay. So I'm going to cut off a piece that is just shy of 3 1/2. So maybe 1/8 of an inch shy of 3 1/2. And like I said, it was already cut to where it was a little short of the envelope, but that is okay. I'm going to open my envelope, and I'm going to make sure this fits in here well. I don't need to trim it up anymore. Fits in there great. Okay. So the next thing is, since it's a little short, I just need something to finish up this so that it will stay in the pocket well. So let's see if I have a scrap. I think I do. I got a little scrap of this batt paper. It's not going to matter, like I say, we're going to cover this up. But we want to get to where this is kind of snug. So we want to make sure, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off 3. What was that measurement again? 3 1/2 shy. It's going to be a little bit bigger than what I need, which is great. So I need about 6 1/2. I'm going to use my board to get me right at 6 1/2, and I'm going to glue this down. Okay. So if you need to put it on another sheet of paper, whatever you need to do to get back to that, basically 6 1/2. I haven't used my glue yet today, so I'm just going to test this out, make sure all is good. All right, let's see. I'm just piecing mine together to make sure I get 6 1/2. So I'm just overlapping just a little bit here. Just like that. Okay. So then if it's a little too long, Oh, 6. Sorry, I kept saying 6.5, but it needs to be 6. So if it's a little too long, that is okay, because then I can just trim it from here. But I want it to fit pretty snug in this envelope. Okay, so this is what I wound up with to get me to 6 by a little shy of 3.5. And I'm going to try it back in the envelope, and if it won't fit, I may have to cut a little sliver off. Turn this over. I'm just going to cut it a little bitty tiny bits at a time until I can get it to fit in the envelope. Okay, awesome. Fun. All right, so next step is get something to pour half of this into. And you could just dump it in your bag if you want, but I just find this to be a little easier. So you can see that's about half, and that's still quite a bit of Shakey's. So you can use all if you want to. I just find it to be a little much. So you want to keep all your Shakey's in the front of your envelope. So open up your envelope with your cardstock, with your pattern paper piece inside, and just dump that in the front. Before we glue this together, just kind of decide if that's enough for you, if you want a little more. Let's see. I don't want too terribly much, but you can make the decision how much you would like to have. I'll put mine up. And now we're going to glue this shut. So back to our sticky tape, double-sided tape. You're not going to see the back of this, so we're all good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run tape as close to the score line as possible, and I'm even going over the edge of the envelope. I've even got, more tape than what I need because it's not a straight line, so I'm going all the way to the edge of the envelope, making sure I get complete coverage. I'll show you that. So here's the back side, so you can see how it's hanging off the envelope here. I hope you can see that. Yeah, maybe. Then I'll go back with my scissors and trim this as best I can. But this is the back, so like I said, we're going to be gluing this down on something else, so it's going to be just fine if a little bit of this shows. So now I'm going to take tape backing off here. Make sure I get a good tight stick. Pushing this down on my paper. And I'm just going to make sure I got a really good stick there. So it's very difficult to see, but right along this edge right here, I've got double-sided tape. Really good stick. I'm just going to kind of check it a little bit. Make sure everything is good. Wonderful. Here we go. There's the start of our shaker. I'm going to move all my shaky bits to the top. There we go. Just to kind of get them out of my way as I work here on the bottom piece. And I guess you could do this before you put the shakies in, right? But I don't like to do things the easy way. All right, so the next thing is we're going to need those little 3x4 cards. So you want to choose a 3x4 card to put on here, and I chose this little trick or treat guy. So I'm just going to kind of cut him out here. Use some of the rest of these later, so I want to make sure I don't cut into anything else that I'm going to need. So I'm going to kind of put all these over here together so I don't lose those. And then what I did is I really wanted to use, I didn't want to lose any of this, but I wanted to use as little as I could not to take up from my shaker card. So it kind of wound up being 2.5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going from 3 to 2.5. So I'm going to take off about a 1/2 inch on each side. Let's see. And if it's a little too much, then just kind of drag it back a little bit. So see, I didn't want quite as much as that 2.5 off, so I kind of took a little bit of that back. So now let's see. I am at 2 1/8. Ooh, I really cut that one good, didn't I? So now I cut this one down. It says to 3.5, is that right? 3 3/4. So I'm just gonna cut this near the top here. And I'm just gonna kind of leave the bottom because I'm gonna be tucking this in. So I think I'm gonna leave the bottom alike. So I cut mine a little short as the instructions, but that's okay too. But if you follow the instructions, the black mat you're gonna need is 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. I'm gonna go in here, find my black pieces that I had left over. The back side is the cream. So it'll be this one. That's the smallest piece I've got, and I think that'll do fine. So the way I do mine is I just want a little bitty border, and since I'm off, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball mine. It's kind of one of those do as I say, not as I do things, right? It happens to me all the times. Sometimes I do better winging it than I do giving measurements, and I'm sure we're all that way. I just want to say thank you to you guys that's following along with me with the kits, because I know I've gotten so many nice compliments about the kits and how everything is included and how well you're loving that and very little waste. So I'm going to put this off to the side because I'm going to do one more cutting, so I might as well do that now. So the striped paper that we're going to need is 3/4 inch by 3.5. So that was on the back of this paper. And I want my stripes to go this way. So I'm going to cut it like this, 3/4 inch. By right at 3.5. Okay. So what I had in mind here is this goes like that, and this goes kind of tucked in here, and the ribbon kind of bridges that gap, so to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some Distress ink. So just be sure as you're gluing down this little stripedy piece that you're gluing it where you still have the little tuck area. So don't put glue on the top piece of that. All right, so let's glue this. So I'm going to glue on 3 sides, the 2 small sides, and then whatever I'm considering the bottom, and leaving the top where we have a tuck space. And I'm going to kind of go all the way to the bottom, flush with the bottom of this envelope here, like so. My sequins and stuff back to the top while I'm doing this. Go ahead and glue this to the backing. Just like that. It's gotten quiet on here. My washing machine has gone off. I don't care how many people's in your house, what you got going on, and what kind of weekend. It seems like there's always some laundry to do. All right. So then this is going to tuck in here, and then of course we're going to add some elements behind it. Let's go ahead and get our ribbon out. So in your other little goodies you got a long, that teal ribbon. And so what I did is I set my ribbon down in the center of my workspace, and I kind of centered this over it as best I could. Then kind of do like shoelaces. See kind of where your center is here. Just kind of even those up. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. And I know sometimes that is easier said than done. But what I like to do is I like to tie the loop on the left first. Then gather this, you know, as tight as I can at the bottom. Then usually when I tie a shoe, I go from the bottom, you know, over the top. But I was taught when you make a bow, you come up from the back over the top. And then, hang on, from the back over the top. And then you put your loop in. And usually you will get a better, flatter bow. And sometimes that works for me, sometimes not. But I do know it works better than the way we tie our shoes normally. Just like this. And then of course we could all fuss with our bow forever. You want to make sure you got it snug, but if not, see, I've got a lot of room here. I did not get mine snug. I can glue it down. We're not going to see the back, or I can simply start over. Try one more time. Let me get my tweezers so I can get it a little tighter here. I got my reverse tweezers, and once I get it tight, I'm going to put my tweezers on it to hold it for me. Look at there, it's still not very tight. There we go. Let's see if that does it. So see, I was still trying to tie my bow that way. Go up from the back, and then come down from the top, and then make my loops. Let's see if that's better. Come on. Okay. There we go. It still wanted to go sideways on me. Okay. Now that's pretty snug that time, so those tweezers helped. And I've got some pretty long ribbon tails. That's okay. I'm going to take my two ends of my ribbon. I'm going to fold them together, just like that. Then I'm going to take my scissors, starting from the outside bottom and then pointing up toward my fingers. I'm going to cut, and that kind of gives me a ribbon tail here. And then I like to scuff mine up or rough mine up a little bit. And I'm going to shorten this one, this side a little bit. Do that same thing on this side. Yes. There we go. So I like it. I like it. Cute. Of course, I'm going to fuss with it a little bit. That's just who I am. I'm going to pull it up just a little bit. I kind of want it to be right on the edge of where the paper meets the bow. Once you get yours kind of settled where you want, whether it's on the side or if you want to pull it to the center, but I like mine kind of off to the side a little bit. I don't know why on this one. Then I'm going to kind of glue it in place. I'm going to put a strip of glue right at the top of that pattern paper and then glue that down. And then I'm going to put a glob of glue where I want that bow, the center of the bow to be, and I'm going to press my bow into it, the center of the bow there, and just kind of glue this into place. There we go. That's better. A little fluffier. Now this little trick-or-treat guy should now just fit right down in the edge of this where it meets. So let's go ahead and glue this. Then we get to add some stickers. Embellishing is the fun part. And I just got glue all over me. Alright, just like that. Just make sure it doesn't hang off the side, but you can put it at an angle or straight. Okay. Clean my hand a little bit here. Wipes are in short supply nowadays, aren't they? It's kind of difficult to find. All right, so I'm going to pull out my example here. Let's just kind of take a look at that a little easier. See what we're going to do now. So I put October 31st, this little sticker here at the bottom. And then I put a bat and this little ghost right here that says boo. Another bat, and then I put 3 little sparklies here. So let's find those pieces. Grab your sticker sheet. Okay. So I use this bat here. So I'm gonna grab him, put him on my hand here. And then I did another small bat, and we can do any one that you want. I think I'm gonna choose a different one. I think I'm gonna choose this bat this time, a smaller one. I'm gonna put these on the side of my table over here out of the way. Then we're going to find a small ghost. Even though he doesn't show up a whole lot, I still liked him. So pick this little ghost that was here. And then the October 31st. It's in orange letters right here. Pick that one. And then one more. I use this little bitty boo right here that's underneath or on the left side. So all of those. So as I'm putting them on, I'm going to add a little distress ink to the edges. Like this. And I put the bat here. Some of them I kind of, tuck underneath if you can. It kind of gives a good look. So there's that bat. I think I used a smaller bat, looks like, but it's okay. The first one. I never can seem to find the same stickers the second time around. All right, and then this October 31st, I'm going to put this down here on the left side on the stripe paper, like that. There we go. Then I'm going to take my little bitty ghost, add some ink to it. Going to put it near the edge of this little Trick or Treat 3x4 card we cut down. And then I'm going to take this teeny tiny boo sticker and I'm going to layer over that ghost. That helps bring out some of this teal right here, and it kind of helps you see that there's a ghost there on this paper. And one more thing, I'm going to take another bat, and then I'm going to kind of finish that off here somewhere, kind of giving your little room. See, I do them, a little differently there. Got a couple different looks. And then I'm going to finish it off with some sparklies. So you've got these three, or there's actually 6. We're going to use 3 of these blings. If I can get it out of my little bag here. So this one, since I'm trying for it to show up really nicely on this vellum, I went with 2 blacks and 1 clear. So I'm going to kind of do mine right at the edge of the pattern paper. Well, easier said than done if I can get them off here. And you can use a bunch of different ways to get them off and use it. A lot of times I like to use my pokey tool. And these are connected to each other, so just keep that in mind too. You might have to trim them apart. I'll do that on this next one, see if that helps me pick it up. Yeah. And that way I could just kind of slide my little pokey tool underneath it and then slide it into place. A little easier. I said a little easier. Look at that. I'm flying. Okay, I'm going back to this. Okay. Push you over just a little bit. Get where I want you to go before you stick down, please. All right. There we go. Okay. So I've got this one here, and I got this one that's not quite to the edge, but we've got a couple more mats that's going to go here. So, all right, you little thing. I'm going to have to put a little glue underneath you. Isn't this cute? I love shakers. And I definitely put it in a place in the book where the recipient can take it out and shake on it. It's so cute. All right, so I'm gonna put my other bling where I can be sure and find it. I'm gonna kind of put this to the side too until we get back to that. So now let's work on some tags. So you've got 2 manila tags and 2 black tags. And of course you have an orange and some other things. So for now you're gonna need one of those manila tags. And you're going to need the black tag, let's see, cut to 1 7/8 by 3 3/4. Okay, so it is the smaller tag, that's what I was thinking. So I'm going to take this small tag and I'm going to cut it down. I need it to be thinner, and this one too. So I'm going to go ahead, if yours has string in it, go ahead and take that string out and keep that. So the manila tag, I want it to be 2 1/8. So right now it's 3 1/8, so I need to take off 1 inch. So I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off of each side. So a 1/2 inch here, each side. So now I've basically got 2 1/8, right? And then I'm going to go to 4 7/8. So right just shy of 5. Make sure I'm cutting it on the right side here. This one. So if you have a punch, let me find mine here. It's got the angle punch. You can get this large angle punch and you punch that out so you get your shape back. Or if you don't have one of those, use your other tag, line them up on the ends, and then trim that off. So before you cut the other tag, if you don't have one of these, just use that to help you. All right, so now we need to cut down the black one. This one is 1 7/8 by 4 3/4. Right? So 1 7/8. So I'm going to take off 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take off, okay, 1/4 of an inch off each side. It's funny how I designed it, but sometimes there's weeks and weeks that go by between designing it and actually making it again, and I have to remember what I did. It's so funny. So forgive me for that. This is 1 7/8. Now it needs to be 4 3/4, which it already is. So now when you layer one on top of each other, this is it's going to be what it looks like this. So it kind of gives you a border there. So however you cut your other tag angle, do the same here so that you got the same angle, the same angles on the ends. Now we need some of that striped paper again and some orange paper. So we'll get my striped paper out. And then I need a strip that's 1 3/4 until I really liked this paper. And then trim this down to 4. Need that. And then lastly, we're going to need orange paper. So look in your scraps here. And I think I used the darker of the oranges. And that one is 1 1/8 by 4. So I forgot to tell you, if you're following along, I'm at the top of page 17, and here's all of the dimensions here. So just shy of 1 7/8 or so. Is that right on orange? No. Ooh, no, I was really wrong. 1 1/8. It's a little bit bigger than 1. That makes sense because we're putting stickers on it. By 4. There we go. All right, let's do some layering. Just over here, get my distress ink, put that out of the way. Put this back. Started losing some of my space over here. Okay. Just going around, black ink, all the edges. I'm interested to know if everyone does this, if you really like the look of inked edges, or if it's just me. I kept my little string here. And then also we're going to need our black string here. So we're going to use this black string twice. So you're going to fold your string or your ribbon in half, and you're going to trim that and keep half of it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I know I'm going to keep, well, no, I won't do that because I may get off on it. Okay, so let's start layering. Start with the manila one on the bottom. I'm going to dry fit this to make sure. And then the two holes should match up on your black and your manila. And it should be flush with the right-hand side. And then you should have basically the same reveal all the way around, if my measurements were correct. So I'm just going to take my time here and line this back up. Gonna give me the same thing all the way around, and then it's flush on the right side. And then all the way around the rest of it. And then give some more time to glue. I know there's a lot of dimension on the right side, so I have to add some extra glue in here. Hold that down. There we go. Just gonna hold this for a second. And then the next thing is we're going to put our striped paper. So I'm going to make sure I line it up on the left-hand side this time on the black right here. Kind of get the same all the way around, and then whatever's left over on the right-hand side is fine. As long as you don't cover up your hole, other than that, you're good however it lands. So I'm just going to line this up, trying to get the same thing on those three sides, and glue that down. And mine comes almost right up to the silver insert piece here on this hole. All right, and then the orange piece is going to go right in the center. It should be flush on the left and the right hand side and centered top to bottom. So flush with the stripe paper on the right hand and left hand side, and then center it, just eyeball center it top to bottom here. Mine's a little close to the bottom, but that is okay. So this is what I've got right now. I'm gonna put pin in my glue. I'm gonna clean it a little bit. It's been a few days since I've done any crafting, which is very unusual for me. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to find on our stickers up here in the top right hand corner where it says trick or treat. So you're going to take those off real carefully, and it is in two pieces. You have trick or, and then treat is by itself. So the way I did this one is I kind of started on the right hand side and worked my way back to the left, because I have lots of room here, so it's going to look pleasing to the eye if this is really close. And then you have a little bit of room here. You can see what I'm saying. So I put the T, the small T of treat, as close as I can to the end of the orange paper, and kind of line it up eyeball center, top to bottom like that. Put a little ink on this one. I don't mind telling you, this one took me a while to figure out exactly how I wanted the front cover and how I wanted all these different layers. It's going much faster this time. And then I'm going to just kind of line up as close as I want the or to the treat or the T on the left-hand side, because you have a little bit of room, a little bit of wiggle room to work. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my or where it touches the treat. Eyeball center, and I'll show it to you. Oh, mine's a little high because of that K. There we go, that's a little better. So I've got my or basically touching my treat, and then a little bit of room on this side. Cute. Okay, now we take our black ribbon, fold it in half, take the loops coming in from the top here. I'm going to push it through with my pencil. Now I've got my loop on the back. I'm going to take the two loose ends, put it through the loop, and pull it through just like this. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to fold my ribbon in half. Start with my scissors on the outside, cut up at an angle toward my fingers. So starting at the right-hand side bottom, and start cutting toward my fingers. And being very careful. That way I've got an angle and it kind of looks like a ribbon tail. There we go, like this. All right, so here's the belly band that's going to go on the front. If you want to use the string that we took off of it, what I did is starting at the bottom, I put the string down on my work surface. Then I put my tag on top, and then I tied a bow on top of that ribbon right where it meets the tag. So you could tie a bow here, you could leave it off totally, or you could tie a knot, however you think is cute. I just kind of tied a loop. That did not work at all. It's so funny to me how I can be precise and easy and not stress while I'm scrapbooking. But as soon as you turn the camera on, it's like, oh my gosh, what have I ever learned? What do I need to do? What kind of information do I need to tell people? I can't even remember my name sometimes, just like this. There you go. So however you want it to look. It's another added dimension and another color to this. So I'm going to kind of put that to the side. And now let's work on some cover tags. So pull that other manila tag out and take off that string. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with some ink. So we're also going to be using a 3x4 card on this one. Let's see, I am going to cut this one down, so I'm just going to ink the sides here. This is going to be 3 1/8, which I think it's already 3 1/8. Yeah, so it's 3 1/8 by 5 1/2. I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/2. Okay. There we go. Now I can finish going around the edges here, and I did both sides because this is a tag you take in and out of the book, so you are going to see both sides of that. So you want, once again, to choose a 3x4 card, and I just really love the look of this one with the little black cat, the jack-o'-lanterns, the boo, the house. It was really cute. So I'm going to go back with that one, and I'm just going to trim it down to where it's just the 3x4 card. I'm not taking anything extra off of that one because our tag is 3 1/8, so we should have a small reveal, you know, on your right and your left. And then what we're going to do is find some more of that orange paper. And so see, I have a tiny strip, so I think that one's going to work because we need 2 strips at about 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, by 3 1/8. So the strip I have is a little over 1. I'm not going to take the time to cut this down to 3/4 because I'm ripping the paper. So I'm just going to be ripping a little bit more. So it's fine. But if you didn't have this little strip left, the measurement is 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/8. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 3 1/8. And 3 1/8 matches up with the tag. That's how you could also, you know, just use your tag as a starting point if you wanted to know what 3 1/8 looks like. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and go around the 3 edges that I'm not tearing. Some black ink here. And I do think I'm going to go around the edges on my card, especially since I didn't cut it exact. There's a teeny bit of orange showing for the one next door. So this is easy peasy, but it always looks so cute on something like this. What you want to do is you want to glue this down with a little bit of the manila showing on the right and left, and a little bit left on the top and bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rip these other little orange pieces, and that's going to create a frame for us. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball center. I need a little bit more room at the bottom here. I really like this glue for that. It gives me a few more seconds longer to work with it. All right, glue here. So what you're going to do is, see, it's two-sided. The orange paper is facing up, and for the right-hand side, if you tear, what's left is going to have this white piece, and that's what I want. So I'm just putting my thumb kind of where I want it to tear so it doesn't go all crazy. The thumb kind of helps it stay on the path, so to speak. So this one is pretty thick. Maybe that is why I started with 3/4. I'm going to tear it again. I don't want it quite so thick. Just like that. And you could say, well, you could just use that one piece that I had and use the other side. But the other side, it doesn't have the white piece. The white's on the blue side. If you like that, that's fine. You could just use one piece, but I want both of mine to be orange. Once again, I'm just going to tear. If any of y'all know who Brenda is that also teaches at May Made It. Oh my goodness, she'd be so proud of me for tearing, right? I'm not going to put any ink where the white is. I just did the other 3 sides in black. This kind of gives me, you know, a little dimension, something a little different, and helps frame this out. I'm going to glue this down. If you only glued down 3 sides of this, you'd have a little pocket at the bottom if you wanted to put something else in there. I'm not going to be doing that because I want this glued pretty good, because this is going to be sliding in and out of the top of my album. So I want this to have a really good glue coverage. Just like that. It's going to be really cute once we put our ribbons on here. So let's go ahead and do the other side. So on this side, what I decided to do is I liked those little pumpkins that were got a white background with the orange pumpkins, not the black one. Yeah, this one right here. It's got my little jack-o'-lanterns. And then I'm going to use up more like this little strip I have of the stripedy paper, because I just love it. So once again, we're going to need, let's see, on this one a 3x4. Yeah. On this one I did 3 wide. I didn't do the 4, I did 4 3/4, and then I put the stripes on the top of the paper. So either way, on the last one, we didn't cover the whole section because it was just a 3x4 card, but on this one, we don't have to do that. We do have more pattern paper available to us. So this, let's see, needs to be 3 1/8 again by 3/8. So 3 1/8. Then I need some little bitty strips. So I decided to go less than 1/2 of an inch. I did some 3/8 little strips here. And once again, I'm just creating a little frame piece. And you could leave this one empty and just put a picture on it. I actually wound up putting my picture on top of this so you don't see a whole lot of it. I'll show you the finished one here. Like this with the gray ribbon. So you really didn't see a whole lot of mine once I put my picture down, but it's still really cute. See, look at this little sticker. Adorable. I really loved this album. I mean, exponentially more once I put my pictures in it. It really came to life. This is just one of those projects, I think, that it really showed the potential more with photos. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it helps not to have photos in it so that you can envision your photos in there. And sometimes I think a project like this comes along where it's like, you know, I would not have seen exactly how this has worked and how many photos I could put in here or how great it was going to look without seeing photos. So that is why I did it. Once I thought, you know, I really want to make it for myself anyway, so I might as well go ahead and put the photos in there and show it. So I took a whole extra weekend of going through all of my photos, picking them out, getting some printed if I didn't have them, and bringing it to you with photos in it. So you should have a gray piece of ribbon. I'll flip this back over, and then I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm going to fold it in half, poke it through the front, pull those 2 ends through. Feel like I say? Let's kind of see here. All right. Okay, we're going to kind of assemble what we've kind of put together so far and put it on the book. And then the last session of this, we will do the inside tags. Okay. All right, so let's take our album front here. Now I am, I've gone all the way through the middle of 17. I'm on the bottom of 17. So I'm going to come from the top of the album and I'm going to mark 3.5 inches right here. That is where I put the top of my belly band. So this Trick or Treat belly band here, that is where I put mine. It's more, see, toward the bottom because you need to have room to put your goodies in here. So since this is going on the front, we need some really good tape coverage. But it's a belly band, so I'm going to use something really strong. I'm going back to my double-sided tape, and I'm just going to do one strip of this 3/8 is what I'm using on both sides. I'm going to get as close as I can to the end of this tag, so I'm going to be going over the ribbon and everything, pulling this up. See, that's how much space you've got left because this needs to go down in there with plenty of room to spare. I'm going to flip this over now and trim carefully. Trim off what's left of this tape here. Just like that. Okay. Now you may want to dry fit this first. I'm going to show you exactly where this is going. What I did here on the finished one, I took the tag out here. It is sitting flush. The top of the tag is flush with the album. It's down 3.5 inches from the top, so there's not as much room here at the bottom. Let's see what's left. So there's 1 1/4 about at the bottom. And see, it hangs over. It goes almost to the end, but there's some room to spare here. So that is what we're going to do. We know we've got some room to spare, so we're good to go. And we'll pull my ribbons up and out of the way. And I've got my 3.5 inch mark from the top. So I'm going to kind of line that up. And then I'm going to scoot this all the way to the end here. Kind of hold this down. And then kind of make sure that I am straight as best as I can before I press all this into place here. Just like that. Press that into place. Cool. So now you have this. And then you have this that's sitting inside of here. Cute. Isn't this so cute? I'm going to have to mess with my little bows here. But I love this. This is really, really adorable. Like this. Okay. What else? Let's see where else we are here. So this is your inside tags. All right, so we made this. Let's go ahead and put this on. So what I did, well, you know what? I think we'll wait because we got to do this one and we got to do our inside tag. So let's do that on our last session. So you still have this one hanging out. We've got a couple more tags to make, a couple of round tags to make. And this is going to go here, and then we're going to go cut off some 3 by 4 inch, and then we'll do a final run through of everything that we've done. So it's been about an hour, so I will see you back here tomorrow for the final installment. I'm hoping you're loving this. If you decide to make one of these, because I know every one of you that make it put your own personal spin on it, please go over to our Facebook page and post a photo there. I would love to see it, and other crafters would love to see it and gain some inspiration. And that's linked in the description down below, but it's Lisa Wise Designs on Facebook. Thank you guys so much, and see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye.